And it's time now to meet acclaimed poet and award-winning visual artist, toaishara. Thank you so much for joining us on Artworks, Wani.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to talk about your current exhibition, which is on at Wyndham Art Gallery. It's called The Uncanny and the Magnificent. Tell me what prompted that exhibition.
I started looking at my own life and kind of looking at what's around me and looking at those around me and thinking deeper about like the precarity of blackness, thinking deeper about questions of safety and unsafety of like, gender, sexuality, all these isms, ableism, what that looks like, what that means, and thinking about like, well, what is my contribution and how am I participating?
As a black photographer, tell me, what's your aim when you get behind the lens?
I think I've had a really interesting relationship with photography. In terms of, I've always found it fascinating, not always for the positive, but more so like in understanding the history of violence in photography. By history, not just things that's happened in the past, but even now how photography is being used, in particular against colonized bodies or marginal bodies. Even the language of photography still, whether it's trigger, shoot, capture, it has a real colonial violence aspect to it. And I think a lot about like positionality. What does it mean when, let's say, a black person takes a photograph of another black person? I don't believe anyway that necessarily negates the violence or impact it has, but it's about like recognizing your position within that frame. What does it mean when I hold a lens? Because I understand that like me being black or me being from said communities doesn't necessarily erase the impact or the effect, because we've all been socialized and conditioned by the same structures. So something that I've been thinking about a lot is relational accountability as practice of care. A big part of it has to do with understanding my own positionality. There is power in what we do. There is power in me having a camera and holding it back to my own community. Think a lot about that engagement, and I think about that relationship a lot. What does it mean to sit here? Is this feel good for you? Is this a collaborative process? What are we getting to? I don't necessarily always like going into the photo process with an idea and end result in mind, because then it makes it fully mine and I'm just dictating how you are, and I don't think that's a good way of being.
I mean, so much of your work interrogates the complex layers of Afrophobia within the violence of colonialism. How has the art world, Wani, responded to these bigger ideas that you explore?
I know from what I've heard from friends of mine who are black or African or indigenous or othered, how they struggle. They don't have spaces of critique, because no one knows how to critique our work. Or they just say we don't want to deal with that or engage with that. So you also don't know how to measure yourself and how to grow and how to develop. When I think about my practice as a whole, I think my work's always been challenging, I suppose. But our lives have always been challenging, so I don't imagine it any different.
Yeah.
Or to have friends or non-friends who become friends come and tell me that I feel seen within your works, like things that you make that you think are so personal to you, whether I feel validated or I feel challenged. I really even love those responses.
Can you tell me about your award-winning series, Do Black Boys Go to Heaven?
It came as a series of conversations and sit-downs. It wasn't really a set plan to make a photograph. Also trying to understand how it is our bodies are read and, what it means to exist in these bodies and what it means to, like, sit here and find ways to have black joy and freedom and, feel like you're seeing you in your full breadth and your full self and your full... Because I feel like even in the image-making process, once the photograph, I see a reflection of me too, you know what I mean? And I really loved that way of engaging, and that's kind of how we came about. Do Black Boys Go to Heaven?
What I think is really beautiful is within those challenges, you are collaborating with your community. And I'm wondering what it's like for you, Wani, as an artist, when community roll into an exhibition space and not only see your works, but themselves on the wall.
I don't think there's a feeling I can compare to like the elation and joy you feel. One of the biggest things for me was the first time I got to see my mom see an exhibition. Listen, when I tell you, my mama is a godly woman that don't leave home or church. To have her come along and check out the exhibition, I was just so blown away.
Wani's exhibition, The Uncanny and the Magnificent, is on now at Wyndham Art Gallery in Melbourne's West until the 28th of May. Wani, I've so loved speaking with you today, and I absolutely love your powerful work. Thank you for joining us on Artworks.
Thank you so much.